Okay, yeah. My name is Good Luck, and I'm so excited to present this my future project on about terrorism in Pakistan. And so, terrorism is not a good thing. It's not a good thing, and it's not something someone pray to happen in his or her own country. Terrorism is very bad, and as described, it's a use of intentional violence. So people prepare to just cause violence and to destroy. And so terrorism originated from the word terrorist, and it has always been nothing but punishment and destruction. And such was the case of the 9 of 11 September, an attack on the U.S. World Trade Center, which caused a lot of destructions and then caused a lot of lives. And as a result of this, one of the most popular person in Dr. Sakwi Khan has named Pakistan a cradle of terrorists. And okay, now it all says that, in his opinion, he says that Pakistan has been a safe haven for terrorists and a cockpit of terrorism, parachuting militants in Afghanistan as mujahideen or freedom fighters in Kishman. And it's obvious, very sad of what goes on in Pakistan, where terrorists have freedom. Terrorists have opportunity to they move around. They even move around like every other normal people. I don't know whether they have become a security to guide. So they have taken control of over the country of Pakistan, most especially the Afghanistans and all that. And so they have freedom. They move around, and the governments are not doing anything to hunt them down. The government is relaxed. I don't know why, but it seems like the government are in support of what is going on, because most of these terrorist groups claim to be protecting and fighting for Islam religion. They claim to be fighting for Islam, their cultures, and they believe that God is going to bless them. God is going to bless them. He says that the government of Pakistan is the role is the role of Islam in the state. So Pakistan has a major interest and commitment to provide Muslim protection, and that has brought the lack of any strong ideology on the country. And so it's true, in a country where there is 96.4% of total population characterized as Muslim and Islam, and they have fought to become an Islamic state, and want to be governed strictly according to the Sharia laws. And you can see the reason why the government are not able to track down the activities of these people, because the government feels that these people are there to help protect the laws and the customs of Islam. Now, because Pakistan has gone to become an Islamic state, groups like Al-Qaeda and the Taliban merges to protect the country's image as a Muslim state. Now, just like what I was saying, that they want everyone to observe the laws. They want everyone to observe the laws, the cultures, and belief of Islam. And I don't think it's a good idea, because Islam does not say that is by force. You must, where I come from, we talk about agency. But in this case, it seems like they use violence and coercion to force people to obey and observe the laws and cultures of Islam, as far as you find yourself in an Islamic state. And these people claim to be fighting for Allah, and they claim that Allah will bless them and they will receive peace when they die. So they believe that when they fight and they die because of Islam, Allah is going to bless them and receive their soul in heaven. So that is what they believe. And the worst part of it is that the special intelligence of Pakistan, talking about the ISI, has done little to protect the country in terms of from these terrorist attacks, because even their own people are being murdered. They are being killed each day in their country, and nothing is being done to protect the human rights. It seems human right doesn't happen because these terrorist groups have taken control, and the government does nothing to provide protection or crack down this terrorist group. You haven't heard that the government of Pakistan have arrested any terrorist groups and then persecute them, but they rather, protect them and give them aids, which is what happened when U.S. spent a lot of years searching for Osama bin Laden, while Osama bin Laden was his hiding place was at Pakistan, and which was a huge disappointment and a disgrace on the special intelligence of Pakistan and the government, when the US on their own were able to detect and find out that Osama bin Laden was in the country. And such country is never, it's not a safe place. And so now one of the reasons why terrorist groups has continued to grow is because these groups like Aquadai and then the Caribbean uses madrasa. They have taken control of the madrasa. They recruit, they take children, especially children from poor homes, and then enroll them in the school, indoctrinate them, teach them false things, and then give them guns and then bombs, and let them turn them into becoming a bomb. Go out there and destroy and kill people just because they told them that the people are trying to change the laws and the cultures of Islam. So the Western life is taking over the cultures of Islam, and Allah is not happy about that. That Allah have sent them, they will let them recite the Quran, that Allah have sent them to go and protect the laws. So these children are being tortured in a very bad way to believe that what they are doing is the right thing. Now, because the government of Pakistan is under pressure from the UN and on other world governing bodies to crack down these terrorist groups. Now, it's a Pakistan moving to bring madrasa under state control. Now, they have started a major reform with these madrasa schools. He said the current administration under Imran Khan has reinstated that Pakistan needs peace and stability when he visited the White House. And it's obvious that there was no peace. Even a typical case was the case of Malala, who passed through a coma just because she's a female and she was fighting for her right in the country and seeking education. So there is no peace and stability in the country. He lamented on 15 years of fighting war and terror, which has not imparted any positivity to the country, but casualties and then economy lost. He said Pakistan desperately needs peace. The present administration has committed to the Afghanistan peace process by helping to crack down the militant and terrorism within its border. And this is something that the government should have done previously, but glad that they have taken this big step to crack down the militants and the terrorist groups within its borders, and to maintain peace even with the Afghan government. And this the present government is making sure that the country is no longer a safe haven for the terrorists, but to bring a peaceful negotiation even with the Caribbean that will include the Afghan government. They are working to regain the aid they used to receive from the US. And this was an interview news from CNBC News when the Imran Khan visited the United States, the White House, for a meeting with the president. He emphasized the need, the step the government is taking to make sure that these terrorist groups are no longer, Pakistan as a country is no longer a safe place for them. Now, it's the same that the Pakistan government is to bring madrasa under state control. It says that looking at the effort of the current government administration, terrorism in the country is no longer gaining followers as it used to be, because more young male children are now beginning to understand the importance of education, and madrasas are running through major reformation, which used to be training ground where the leaders indoctrinate the young boys into fighting for Allah and to protect the religion. The general of army, the military general in Pakistan, Asif Ghaffar, told the news reporters that the government has taken control of 182 religious schools, that is the madrasas. He said that we want to end violent extremism in Pakistan, and that would only happen when our children have the same education and opportunity. And so now Pakistan as a country is no longer is driven away from becoming a safe haven for terrorists now, because the government have taken a huge step to educate the children and to reform those madrasa schools, which the militants and the terrorist group have used as a medium of recruiting more young boys into becoming terrorists. Government has taken control over these schools, and as a result of that, it has reduced the rate of terrorism in the country, and which will definitely happen in at world at large. It said the Pakistani government has vowed major reforms, especially with the madrasas, to modernize madrasa education and avoid the radicalization of youngsters, as they plan to make education available for all, especially the poor ones that are normally targeted. Because these groups target the poor families in the villages and pick their kids, their children, since the family could not send them to school or even afford to feed them. They will promise to pay the parent, to bring money for the parent, and to take their children, and to they make their children become terrorists and then send them out, become suicide bombers, turn them into a suicide bombers and all sort of evil, things. So the government have taken an initiative to modernize these madrasas education, to make education available for every child, especially the poor homes, and to make sure that these child are taken away from radicalization, which they have turned these boys into. He said the best way for the world at large to combat terrorism is to make education available for everyone, especially the poor and less privileged ones, because normally the poor and less privileged ones are affected. But if the government of each country, the world at large, could make education available for all, where terrorism will be taught in schools, and there should be a public protest against terrorism in every country, and people will be educated, the public will be educated, and schools against terrorism. That will be a very best way for the world to combat terrorism and to make sure that terrorism is minimized, the rate is minimized, and people don't just wake up in the morning and then turn into becoming a terrorist. It's something everyone has to look at as very important, because not only Pakistan is suffering it, other countries that are not even having terrorists are also suffering, just like what happened in the US, and even Nigeria still suffer from Boko Haram and this terrorist group. And so it shows and proves that a lot is going on. But if the world could take a huge step to educate the people, provide education for the poor ones, and help them understand the bad effect of terrorism, that would be a better way to solve the terrorist situation, as what the present government of Pakistan is doing, providing education and then reforming the madrasas, and then taking control of the madrasa, instead of the madrasas being in the hand of those Caribbean and the Aquada. These are my cited sources, the cited sources for my research about terrorism in Pakistan, and some of the New York terrorism making Pakistan and all that. And I hope I hope my information is viable. It's important about terrorism in Pakistan. And thank you very much. Bye for now.